The stars above were silent. Captain Alira Voss sat alone in her cockpit, eyes fixed on the glowing planet below, Varix 9. The report said it was dead. No life, no air, and no reason to ever land there. But Earth Command had picked up something strange from its surface, a short, repeating signal, like a heartbeat, beep, beep, beep. No pattern, no words, just 3 pulses again and again. Her ship, the Argus, floated quietly in orbit. "I don't like this," she whispered, but orders were orders. She was sent to check the signal, scan the surface, and return. No one expected her to stay long. Illyra checked her systems. Suit sealed, oxygen full, weapons ready. "It's just a quick in and out," she said. Trying to calm herself, she pressed the button to descend. The ship entered the planet's atmosphere. At first, everything looked normal. Then the sky cracked. Warning. Electromagnetic surge detected. The ship's AI screamed. Lightning came out of nowhere, red and sharp, cutting across the clouds like claws. The ship shook hard. Panels sparked. Systems died one by one. "I'm losing control," Ira shouted. The ship crashed. When she woke up, her head was bleeding. Alarms were blaring. Smoke filled the cockpit. The windshield was cracked, but she could see strange blue plants outside, glowing softly in the dark. She checked the air levels. The scanner blinked green. That was impossible. Virex-9 was supposed to be toxic. There's no oxygen, no way to breathe. But the air was safe. She took off her helmet and breathed in slowly. It felt clean. To clean, something wasn't right. Illyra grabbed her rifle, opened the door, and stepped outside. The planet was silent. Not just quiet, but dead silent. No wind, no insects, no movement. The ground was smooth and black like glass. The glowing plants pulsed softly around her, like they were breathing. Then she heard it. A whisper. Soft, like someone breathing in her ear. She spun around. No one there. Hercombs picked up something strange. It was her own voice, but she wasn't talking. "Don't come for me. It's alive." Her blood ran cold. She hadn't said that. Back on Earth, deep inside the command center, Kale Voss stared at the screen. His sister's last message had just come in. Her voice was weak and full of fear. "Don't come for me. It's alive." Then silence. The generals turned to each other. One of them stood and said, "We're calling. Off the mission. She's dead." Kale slammed his fist on the table. "You don't know that? There's no signal now. No life signs. And no recovery possible. But you heard her." He shouted. "She said it's alive. I mean, she's still alive too." Or she was. For a few seconds more, the general replied coldly, "We're sealing the Varix 9 system. No one goes in ever again." On Varix 9, Illyra walked carefully through the strange blue forest. The trees looked like crystal, and the ground felt soft under her boots. Suddenly, she saw something in the distance. Metal. She moved closer and found half of a human-shaped drone, long destroyed. It wasn't from Earth. The design was alien. But there was a human skull inside the helmet. "What is this?" she whispered. She checked the body. There was Earth tech inside, old but real. Somehow, a human had been here before. But that was impossible. No record showed any mission to Virex-9. Lyra felt the ground shift under her. She looked down. A black vine was wrapping around her boot. She jumped back and aimed her rifle. The vine froze, then slowly pulled back into the soil like it had been watching her. She heard the whisper again, this time clearer. "You're not supposed to be here." Kale sat in his small ship, alone in the darkness of space. He wasn't. Going to listen to Earth Command? He played the last message from Illyra again. "Don't come for me, it's alive." He didn't hear fear in her voice. He heard a warning. "She's alive," he said to himself. "I'm going to find her." He set course for the Forbidden Zone. Back on the planet Illyra stood on. A hill. In the distance, a huge black structure rose from the ground like a tower made of shadow. It hadn't been there before. She looked at it, heart beating faster. She whispered, "What are you?" The ground whispered back, "We've been waiting." Lyra Voss moved carefully through the glowing forest. Her steps were slow. Mind was racing. Everything she knew about Varex 9 was wrong. The planet was not dead. It was watching her. She could feel it in the air, in the ground, in the strange plants that turned toward her as she passed. The blue trees shimmered like glass, humming softly. Every step she took echoed like a drumbeat. Still, there was no wind, no animals, no sound, except the whispers. Sometimes they were just breaths, other times words. "Why are you here?" she remembers. The test begins. Alira stopped to rest beside a tall rock. Her helmet was off. Air was clean, not just safe, but strangely perfect. Her lungs felt lighter, her skin calmer. It was like the planet was healing her. She checked her leg. It had been burned during the crash, but now the skin looked better, smoother. Well, that shouldn't be possible. A strange warmth moved through her body. The whisper came again. "You're changing." She gripped her rifle tighter. "No," she said out loud. "I'm just surviving." Then the sky changed. At first it looked like a sunset. The clouds turned red, orange, and purple. But then the light bent the wrong way. The sky didn't fade. It broke, like glass cracking across a window. Lines of bright light shot across the heavens in sharp patterns. She looked up in fear. What the hell is going on? Then came the low hum, deep and powerful, vibrating the air like thunder under her feet. A bright object fell from the sky and crashed into the jungle far away. Lighting up the trees in green fire, she ran toward it. Back on Earth, Kale Voss sat inside his stolen scout ship. He was near Varex 9 now. The system's warning alarms were loud in his ears. Warning: do not enter. System locked by Order 77. He shut off the alert. "I don't care what Earth Command says," he muttered. He had left everything behind. His job, his family, his clean record. But none of it mattered if his sister was still alive. He opened the communication channel. "Captain Alira Voss. This is Kale. I'm in orbit. If you're alive, send me a signal. Anything." Then a weak ping. Kale's eyes widened. "She's alive." Alira reached the crash site. It wasn't her ship. It was something else. It looked like a pod. Not human, not alien. Something in between. It had landed softly like the planet had caught it. She stepped closer and saw something. Inside the pod, a body, human-looking, pale skin, black suit. Its eyes were open, glowing white. It stared at her. Then it smiled. She stepped back, lifting her rifle. The figure didn't move. Then it spoke in her own voice. "You passed the first step." "What are you?" she asked. Memory, echo, design. Its voice shifted between male and female. "Yeah, young and old, human and not. You survived what others could not. This place was waiting for someone like you. Why? To wake it?" The ground began to shake. Not violently, more like it was stretching, far in the distance. The black tower she had seen earlier began to glow red. Lines of light ran across the land like veins. Suddenly, everything around her went silent. Even the whispers stopped. A word formed in her mind. "Come." Kale's ship shook as he entered the atmosphere. The readings were strange. Gravity changed direction for a moment. The sky flickered like static. He looked out the window. The planet below was lighting up. Huge red lines moved across its surface, forming a giant symbol, a circle with 3 dots. "I've seen that before," he whispered. In Alira's last message, he activated the sensors. One signal appeared, deep in the jungle. Her signal. "I'm coming, sis." Alira stood in front of the tower now. It had no door, no window, just smooth black stone reaching into the clouds. As she touched it, it turned warm. The whispers returned, but now they were louder, clearer. "You must remember. You must choose." She didn't understand. Then the tower opened. A single step. A glowing path inside. She took a deep breath, and walked in. Inside, the walls moved like liquid metal. Lights followed her every step. The air was thick but breathable. The center was a floating cube, spinning slowly. Humming, her suit flashed. DNA match access granted. She stared. I didn't activate anything. You already did, long ago. Voice came from all around her. You are more than human now. This place is more than a planet. What is it? A trial. Lyra felt her heart beat faster. A test for what? For the future. Suddenly, her vision blurred. The room disappeared. She saw flashes Earth, burning ships in the sky, people screaming, cities falling. Then she saw herself standing among alien leaders. They bowed. A strange light burned in her chest. She fell to her knees, gasping. What? What was that possibility? The vision faded. She was back inside the tower. The cube dimmed. Then the voice said, Welcome, Alira Voss. You are the first to survive. Her hands shook. Outside, the planet shifted again, and high above. Kale's ship began its... Kale Voss landed his ship on the surface of VI Rex-9. The moment his boots touched the ground, he felt it like a pressure in the air, soft but heavy, not like gravity. He was being watched. He looked up. The sky above was broken again. Cracks of light still floated across the clouds. Like someone had shattered a giant mirror and left the pieces hanging. Kale scanned the area. His ship had landed close to Alira's last signal. The trees around him glowed blue, and the ground shimmered under his feet. Alira, he called out, his voice shaking. No answer. He checked his scanner. Her signal was nearby, but moving. Inside the black tower, Alira stood in silence. The floating cube had disappeared. The floor under her feet was smooth metal, with strange symbols glowing red and white. The whispers had returned, but now they were speaking words from her own memories. You let them die. You chose yourself. You failed once. She shut her eyes. No, that wasn't my fault. Duh. But it still happened. She saw her old team. The lost mission on Titan Station, the fire, the screaming, her decision to leave them behind to save the civilians. The whisper grew louder. Now, will you leave again? A section of the wall opened. Light spilled in. She stepped forward, and the light disappeared. Kale pushed deeper into the jungle. Something moved above him, a shape in the canopy. He raised his weapon. Who's there? Silence. Then behind him, a whisper. She came first. He spun around. Nothing there. Suddenly his helmet screen glitched. Static flashed, then cleared. Alira's face appeared, but it wasn't her. Her eyes were wrong. Her mouth smiled too wide. Should not have come, Kale. Then the screen shut off. His hands shook. That wasn't her. That wasn't her. He started running. Alira walked through a dark hallway inside the tower. There were no lights, only shapes carved into the walls. The shapes moved when she didn't look at them. Faces, eyes, symbols she didn't recognize. Then she entered. A wide chamber in the center stood. A machine. It looked like a throne, but mechanical. Wires ran from the ceiling into its back. It was large, big enough for a creature twice her size, and on the throne sat a body, dead or sleeping. She moved closer. The figure was not human. Its skin was pale blue, its hands long, its chest marked with glowing lines. But its head was down like it was waiting. A whisper rose in her mind. This is the first one. The one who failed. Alira frowned. Failed what? The test? Like the others. You are the first human to reach this far. Planet remembers them all. Suddenly the figure's head twitched. Its eyes opened white, glowing. Light Alira stepped back. Then the whisper spoke again, but now in her voice. You. Passed the first step, but something else has awakened. Kale reached the base of the black tower. It was massive. Taller than any building on Earth. The ground around it was scorched in a perfect circle. No trees, no plants, only smooth, dark soil. The tower had no entrance, but he saw something flicker near the base. Like a shimmer. He touched it, and his hand disappeared. Hidden door. He walked through. The air inside was colder, thicker then. He heard footsteps, not his. He turned a corner and saw himself standing at the end of the hall, Same face, same uniform, same scar. The copy smiled. She's not who you think she is. Kale raised his weapon. Get out of my way. Inside the chamber, Alira stood frozen. The blue figure on the throne began to speak, but not with words. Images flooded her mind, memories not her own. She saw a city of glass towers floating in the sky. She saw its fall, war, fire, death. She saw creatures like the one on the throne fighting each other. Then darkness. The last one came here. Virex-9, he turned the planet into a machine, a test. For others, a final trial to find a race strong enough and kind enough to hold the power they had lost. And now, Alira was standing where the last survivor sat. The whisper returned. Do not become what they became. Kale stared at the copy of himself. It began to break, its skin cracking, eyes melting into black. It hissed, she is changing. She is not your sister anymore. Kale fired. The copy vanished in a flash of smoke. He ran forward. Then he saw her. Finally standing in the center of a wide hall, facing the glowing throne. Alira, he shouted. She turned slowly. Her eyes were glowing faintly. Kale, she said softly. You shouldn't have come. I had to, he said, stepping closer. I thought you were dead. I was different. But this place didn't kill me. It changed me. What is this place? She looked around. A test, a machine, and a prison. For who? She pointed to the blue figure on the throne. For them, for me, maybe for all of us. The tower began to shake. The floor lit. Up, the sky above cracked again, but now the cracks were spreading. Kale Voss couldn't believe what he was seeing. His sister stood in front of him alive, but different. Her eyes had a soft glow. Her skin looked slightly brighter, as if lit from inside. But it was still her. Same voice, same strength. Pain behind her smile. Alira, he whispered, we need to get out of here. I have a ship. She shook her head. It's not that simple. Kale looked around. The walls of the black tower were changing. They moved like liquid patterns, shifting, symbols rising and falling. The blue figure on the throne was still sitting silently, watching, waiting. This place, it's alive, Alira said. Now that you're here, it knows more. But outside, Virex-9 stirred. The lines of red energy on its surface grew brighter. The trees bent toward the tower. The air rippled with invisible sound. Far above, satellites from Earth picked up massive changes in gravity, magnetic waves, and radio pulses. Command stations panicked. What is that planet doing? One officer turned pale, sir. Virex-9 is moving. Inside the tower, Kale paced. This whole thing is insane. You crashed, survived, and now the planet is choosing you. Alira looked at him. It's not about me. It's about us. It's about humanity. Every species before us failed this test. They came with greed, fear, or war. I came alone. I listened, and I was changed. Kale clenched his fists. I didn't come here for a test. I came to take you home. She stepped closer. I know. And you may be the only reason I still remember who I am. The blue figure on the throne suddenly lifted its head. Both siblings froze. Its mouth didn't move. But its thoughts filled the room. The other one has arrived. Kale turned to Alira. Other one. A vision flashed in their minds. A second. Human ship, hidden by Earth's command, had landed on the opposite side of the planet. A private military scout, sent to collect alien tech. Secret mission. No rules. They sent someone else. Alira said slowly, not to rescue, but to steal. The blue figure's glow turned dim. They bring war. Again, the walls around them grew darker. The tower began to close. On the other side of Virex-9, Commander Soren Black stepped onto the surface. He wore heavy armor. His eyes were cold. Behind him, a team of 6 soldiers moved like shadows. This planet holds weapons, he said into his comm. We find them, we take them. No mercy. They moved quickly, scanning the ground. They found the remains of alien. Machines. Strange vines. Pieces of old drones. And something else. A glowing map buried under the dirt Sor touched it. The map lit up, showing the tower target locked. Back at the tower, Illyra fell to her knees. Pain hit her chest. Burning heat, Kale rushed to her. What's wrong? They touched something. Something sacred, she gasped. The blue figure spoke again. They break the old seals. The trial must begin. Kale looked around. The air inside the tower grew heavy. Illyra, we need to move. She stood slowly. No, we must finish this, or the planet will not forgive us. Suddenly, a deep rumble came from beneath the ground. The floor split open, revealing a spiral path going down. Kale stared into the darkness. You want us to go deeper? Illyra nodded. This is the final part of the test. It's not just for me now, it's for both of us. Soren's team marched through the jungle. One soldier touched a glowing vine. It wrapped around his arm and pulled him into the ground, screaming, "Leave him." Soren barked. They pressed forward, weapons ready. Then the forest changed. The blue glow turned red. The trees opened up into a giant canyon, leading straight toward the tower. Soren smiled. Found you. Below the tower, Illyra and Kale entered. A massive underground room. In the center was a round platform with floating orbs, each one showing memories. Not theirs, but from other species, other civilizations. They saw wars, betrayals, destruction. Each race had failed. And now it was humanity's turn. One orb glowed brighter inside it. Earth, but not as it was now. It was burning. Nuclear fire, riots, ships leaving the planet. A planet dying. Kale turned away. No, that can't be our future. Lyra touched the orb. The vision paused. We haven't failed yet. The ground shook again. Above them, Soren and his team reached the base of the tower. They saw the hidden door shimmer. Blow it open, Soren ordered. His soldiers set the charge inside. The blue figure stood tall for the first time. It looked at Illyra and Kale. The moment has come. Your kind stands on the edge. Two paths. One survives. Kale raised his voice. There has to be another way. The figure turned its head. Prove it. The tower lit up. Energy surged. A new path opened, glowing with white light. Voice whispered in Illyra's ear, if you choose peace, they must stand down. Above, Soren's team prepared to enter, but the planet responded. The vines came alive. The ground broke. Open. Red light shot into the sky. Soren's eyes widened. What as he was lifted into the air by unseen force, frozen in front of him. A new figure appeared. Not human, not alien. It was Illyra, but glowing, floating, and surrounded by light. You failed, she said calmly. You came with war. Back in the chamber, Kale stood alone. The trial was still running, but the planet had made. Illyra floated in the air. She was no longer wearing her flight suit. It had vanished. Now she was surrounded by light, pure white light, humming softly. Her body was calm, but her mind was spinning. She could feel everything. The planet, the tower, Kale even. The soldiers outside, she felt their fear, their anger, their doubt. Verexnine had opened itself fully to her. And now it was asking her the final question. Are you ready to choose? Deep underground, Kale stood alone in the trial chamber. Illyra had disappeared into the white path. The blue figure had faded into dust. Now Kale was surrounded by orbs, floating memories of other civilizations. Each orb showed their greatest moment and their greatest mistake. One showed a race that built machines to protect them, but the machines turned and destroyed their creators. Another showed a peaceful species that refused to fight and were wiped out by invaders. Kale stepped forward. One orb lit up, showed Earth, a familiar scene, two children fighting over a toy. Then it changed. War, destruction, fire, nations collapsing, cities burning, Earth's dying. Kale clenched his fists. No, he said. We're not just violence. We're more than this. A new orb appeared. Inside, he saw Illyra. Illyra stood in a space with no ground, no sky, only memories. Her own, she saw. Herself, as a child, chasing Kale. Through their mother's garden, she saw her first mission, her first kill, the Titan Station disaster. Her choice to save the civilians, but leave her team. She dropped to her knees. I'm not perfect, she whispered. The planet answered. Perfection is not the test. The test is understanding. What do you learn when you feel pain? In the chamber, Kale's trial began. The lights dimmed. His scanner blinked red. A figure stepped out from the shadows. It was himself. But crueler, older, hardened. This Kale wore a soldier's armor. His face was cold. You left her, the copy said. I didn't. You waited while she fought. Alone. Now you want to be the hero. Kale gritted his teeth. I came for her. I never stopped trying. The copy smiled bitterly. Then prove it. Face your fear. Illyra's memory changed again. She saw a version of herself, older, standing before Earth leaders. They bowed. She had become powerful, too powerful. Her words turned into commands. Her eyes were empty. The planet whispered, will power change you? She turned away from the vision. I don't want to rule. Then why did you survive? Illyra looked at her hands. I don't know. Yes, you do. Say it. She whispered, because I chose to feel. Even when it hurt. Silence then. The light around her grew brighter. Kale faced his fear. His copy attacked, not with fists, with memories. Images hit his mind. Illyra dying. Earth falling. Himself standing alone on a dead world. Kale shouted, I believe in her. That's why I'm here. The vision cracked. The copy vanished, and the chamber filled with warm light. He had passed. Illyra opened her eyes. She was standing. Again this time, inside a massive glass chamber high above the planet. Before her stood a council not of people, but of light forms, shifting, glowing. Thousands of voices speaking as one. You passed the trial of thought, saw the truth but did not run. You remembered who you are, even when the path was dark. Illyra asked, What now? Now, you speak for your kind. We show you the future. Turned and saw Earth again, but different this time. Clean cities, floating ships, peace among nations. Humanity united. The image changed. Humans and aliens together. New stars. Shared science. Hope. Illyra's eyes filled with tears. Is this real? This is what can be, if you choose it. But one wrong step, and it all falls. The ground shook again. Outside the tower, Commander Soren was on his knees. His men were gone, taken by the vines. Swallowed by the ground, he stared up at the tower. A voice echoed from above. Illyra's voice. You came for war. But this planet doesn't fear weapons. It fears hearts that refuse to change. Soren tried to fire his weapon. It melted. In his hands, the vines wrapped around him, holding him still. Then, silence. Kale walked into the final chamber. Illyra stood in the center. Her glow was fading now, her body becoming normal again. He rushed to her. Illyra, you're okay? She smiled. Better than okay? Kale looked around. What now? Do we leave? Illyra looked at the sky above, where red cracks were closing, light returning to normal. No, she said softly. We begin. The tower. Lit up. Energy surged across the planet in space. Earth ships picked up a massive new signal, clear and powerful. For the first time, Varix 9 spoke to the galaxy. Humanity has passed. They are ready. The planet was waking up. Virex-9. Once called dead, cursed, and uninhabitable, now pulsed with life. Red lines of light ran through its surface like veins. The skies cleared. The blue jungle shimmered with energy. The wind returned, singing low through the trees. Kale stood beside Illyra, looking around with wide eyes. What is this place, really? He asked. Illyra didn't answer right away. She stared at the ground beneath her boots, listening. The soil felt alive. It breathed slowly, like something enormous was sleeping under it. She finally whispered, "It's not a planet. It's a machine." Gale blinked. "What?" She turned to him. "A machine built by something older than we can imagine. It judges. It tests. It waits. And now, it's opening." Far beneath their feet, giant gears began to turn. Metal walls hidden under layers of earth started to shift. The planet's crust cracked, not with violence, but with purpose. And from deep inside, the heart of Oryx 9 awakened. A structure rose upward, a tower made of metal and crystal, taller than anything built by humans. It glowed with the same light that once filled Illyria. Above it, the clouds formed a perfect spiral. At Earth Command headquarters, alarms blared. One officer stared at the screen in disbelief. The planet is changing shape, like it's unfolding. General leaned forward. "Is it alive?" "No, sir," the officer replied, shaking his head. "It's activated," another tech whispered. "We called it uninhabitable, but it was just waiting." Illyria and Kale approached the rising tower. Around them, the jungle bent away as if bowing. Kale looked up in awe. "It's like something out of a dream." Illyria's voice was calm, or a warning. They entered the new structure. The air changed, colder, sharper. A thin hum echoed through the metallic halls. They passed walls covered in alien markings. Some glowed faintly. Others moved like living ink. Kale ran his fingers along one. "Feels like skin." Illyria nodded. "Every wall here holds memory." In the center of the tower, they found a chamber. It was vast, round, open, and filled. With light floating above them was a glowing sphere, turning slowly. Inside it, stars, planets, galaxies, a map not of the planet, but of the entire galaxy. Kale's jaw dropped. "Are these all the civilizations it tested?" Illyria stepped forward. "Yes, and we're the first to reach this room," a voice echoed. "From the sphere, you are now the guardians of what was left behind. You may leave and forget, or stay and learn." Kale looked at Illyria. "What does that mean?" "It means," she said slowly, "this place holds secrets that could change everything. Technology, knowledge, power." He hesitated. "And if we take it?" She turned to him. "Then we become the next test. Someone else will come. Someone stronger. To see if we used it wisely." Outside the tower, a small escape pod landed. One soldier had survived the chaos. Shaking, wounded, he stepped out and looked at the glowing tower. He raised his cums. "This is Corporal Reeve. Commander Black is dead. The planet's alive. The humans inside are not the same." He paused. "Don't send anyone else, please." Then the trees closed in, hiding him. Inside the chamber, the map showed Earth. Planet flickered with red signs of war, pollution, corruption, but also green lights, hope, healing. Illyria raised her hand. The red lights dimmed. Kale watched in silence. "You're changing the map?" he asked. "No," she replied. "I'm changing our path." The floor shifted. A hidden stairway opened below the chamber, leading deeper underground. Illyria stepped toward it. Kale hesitated. "Haven't we gone deep enough?" She smiled. "Not yet." They descended into the planet's true core. There they found it, a machine the size of a city. Buried under layers of time, it had no control panel, no buttons, no weapons, only a single interface, a floating platform with one seat. Illyria stepped onto it. The machine lit up. A voice, calmer now, echoed all around them. "You carry your people's hopes. You passed our test. But will your kind pass their own?" Kale looked at her. "You don't have to do this." Illyria turned to him. "Yes, I do." She sat on the platform. Her body glowed again. The machine responded from space. Oryx 9 changed. Its surface opened in patterns. Signals flew across systems. Old satellites lit up. Alien outposts blinked online. The galaxy noticed and responded back. At Earth command, every screen turned black. Then a message appeared, not in code, not in language, just a symbol, 3 circles inside a glowing ring. The same symbol Alira had seen in the sky. And then, in simple English, we are coming. You are no longer. Across the galaxy, antennas turned old satellites dead for centuries blinked back to life. On far-off moons, machines buried deep in the ice began to hum. In forgotten stations floating between stars, ancient systems opened and listened. They had heard the signal, and the signal had come from one place, VI Rex-9. Inside the great machine at the planet's core, Lyra Voss sat quietly on the glowing platform. Energy moved through her body like soft waves. She no longer felt tired, no longer afraid. She was connected to everything. Above her, the galaxy map spun slowly, pulsing with light. The machine spoke, not in sound, but directly in her mind. You are now its voice. You may speak for your people. Kale stood nearby, watching in silence. His sister looked both powerful and peaceful, almost alien. He stepped forward. Alira, can you still hear me? She opened her eyes, smiled. I hear everything. Kale exhaled in relief. Then talk to me. What happens now? Alira looked at the rising energy. Now, the galaxy hears us. The tower above them opened like a blooming flower. From its tip, a beam of white light shot into space, not a weapon, but a message. A signal of peace. A signal of survival. A signal that humanity had passed in the Andromeda sector. A quiet race, known as the Drellin, watched the signal. One of their elders whispered it has been 10,000 years. Someone finally made it. In the shattered ring, the Tavaxi high minds woke from sleep and began to prepare their ships. And on a distant water planet, the soft-bodied Ishal opened their memory stones and whispered, the children of Earth are ready. Back on Varex 9, Kale followed Alira as she walked through the giant inner chamber. Doors opened as she passed, not because of code, but because the planet recognized her. Kale asked, what exactly is this place now? She stopped at a wall, glowed and showed a picture Earth, and then thousands of other planets. This is a gatekeeper, Alira said, a guardian world. It was designed by the ancients to test civilizations. Test for what? Wisdom, patience, heart. If you passed, the gate opened. To knowledge, to peace, to others. Kale shook his head. And if you failed, she turned to him. It closed forever. And the planet stayed silent, waiting for the next. Above the planet, Earth ships floated in orbit. They had come to observe. But now they were witnessing something impossible. Admiral Reyes stared at the monitor. The planet has changed structure. It's emitting a code. Ancient ... but readable. His officer looked up, eyes wide. Sir, it's an invitation. Reyes leaned back. To what? The answer came seconds later, from every speaker across. Every ship, in clear English. We were lost in the dark. We searched for those with light. One world answered. Earth is no longer alone. The voice was not human. It came from the planet itself. Varix had spoken, and it had used Alira's voice to do it. Alira paused, her head lowered for a moment. I felt them, she whispered. Kale looked at her. Who, the others? Civilizations that didn't make it. I saw their sadness, their fear. They were not evil. They just came too soon. Kale walked closer. And us. Alira smiled faintly. We were ready. Suddenly the floor shifted. Section opened to reveal a new chamber. Inside were tools. Artifacts. Devices glowing softly. Alira stepped in. This is a gift, she said. Not to be used for war, but to help our world heal. In the days that followed, the message spread. Earth Command, at first confused, became silent, then curious, then humbled. Ships were sent carefully. Teams arrived slowly. No weapons. Only scientists. Historians, diplomats, Virex welcomed them all. And, standing at its heart, guiding them, was Alira Voss, the first of Earth to be chosen. Kale recorded everything for history, for memory, for the next generation. He called the footage the voice of Varix. It became the most watched video. In Earth's history, people wept. People hoped wars paused, not because of fear, but because of wonder. One evening, Kale and Alira stood at the edge of the glowing forest. Kale looked up at the stars. "You think others will come?" Alira smiled. "They already are." He looked at her again. "And you? What will you do now?" She looked toward the tower, the vines, the sky. "I'll stay," she said, "to protect this place, to help us grow, slowly. Not in conquest, but in connection." Kale nodded. "Then I'll stay too." They both watched the sky, and far in the distance, a ship made of golden light slipped into orbit, the first of many. The golden ship entered Varix 9's orbit without a sound. It didn't come in war. It came in silence, wrapped in light. From its surface, beams scanned the atmosphere, the soil, the towers. Then, gently, a shuttle descended, no weapons, no threats. And when its door opened, the galaxy stepped onto human soil for the first time. Kale stood at the edge of the landing field, watching with wide eyes. 3 beings walked out, tall, graceful, not metal, not flesh, something in between. Their faces were calm, their robes shimmered like starlight. Kale whispered, "They don't look dangerous." Alira stood beside him. She smiled softly. "They aren't." The visitors stopped just a few steps away. Then the center one raised a hand, not to fight, but in greeting. A soft voice echoed in Alira's mind. "We're the one who endured. You heard the silence and answered it with hope. We have waited a long time for your kind." Back on Earth, all screens showed the same feed. The whole world watched. Not a war. It's not an invasion, but a meeting. Alira stepped forward. "I'm Alira Voss, human, pilot, survivor of the Varix test." The tallest of the 3 bowed slightly. "We are the Eldari, last of those who built the gates. Come not to lead, but to listen." Kale grinned. "Now that's a first." For many days, the Eldari and humans shared knowledge. They told stories of the stars, of ancient wars, and forgotten peace. They taught healing, not weapons. Growth, not control. And Earth listened. Because Earth had almost destroyed itself once. And it took one woman on a cursed planet to show the way out. Alira didn't return to Earth right away. She chose to stay on Varix 9, not as a queen or hero, but as a guide. She welcomed new visitors, trained diplomats, taught patience. Kale helped build the first human galactic school, where children from dozens of species would learn side by side. The tower became a symbol not of power, but of peace. Years passed. The symbol of Varix, 3 dots inside a ring, became the new emblem of Earth's Unity Council. The wars on Earth slowly stopped. Borders changed. Not with force, but with agreement. Because now, humanity had a bigger map to belong to. One day, Kale sat under a glowing tree, recording his final journal. He looked older now, wiser, calm. "People ask me," he said into the camera, "how one human changed everything." He looked up at the tower in the distance, bathed in golden light. She didn't come here to be a savior. She came here to survive. But when the planet gave her a choice, she didn't choose power. He smiled. She chose kindness. Alira walked alone into the heart of the tower. The machine still waited, still listened. A voice welcomed her again, the same one from her first trial. "You stayed?" "Even after they came." She nodded. "I didn't want them to forget how it began." The voice paused. "It's many will come. Some will seek to take. Will you be strong enough to stop them?" Alira looked up at the glowing ceiling. "I won't stop them with weapons." Then, "How?" she whispered with memory. At the edge of the galaxy, shadow moved. Not every race welcomed peace. Not every planet passed the test. One fleet, dark and silent, watched the signal from Varix 9. Their leader growled. "The humans have touched something old. We will burn their hope." But even as they prepared for war, Varix was already ready. Not with cannons, but with a united voice. The voice of Earth. The voice of Voss, back on the planet. Children played near the glowing river. One child, half human, half fischl, asked her teacher, "Is it true one woman passed the trial alone?" The teacher nodded. "She didn't just pass it, she changed the galaxy."